Often as we do what God tells us to do and we don't get tired of doing good and finding a way to bless other people, it is amazing how the God of the universe, who is unlimited in his riches and his resources, then will just come through and bless us in the way that we need. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the podcast. This is episode 96. And I want to ask you a question today. Are you just tired of always doing the right thing? It gets to be such a drag sometimes, doesn't it? It seems like we're always having to just be good. We've been told that since we were little. Be good. Be nice to others. Don't, fight. Don't get in trouble. Don't take things that don't belong to you. All the stuff like that. And it's crazy because I see a lot of people today that are just increasingly not being good. I mean, they're being nasty, they're being mean, they're angry all the time, and they're taking it out on others. Random people. We see this on our news. They'll just walk down the street and just hit somebody, just deck somebody, push somebody in front of a subway. I know that sounds ridiculous. And yet, a lot of you have seen these newscasts and these events that happen. They don't even know the person. It's just that they're very upset. And this is what happens, of course, the further we get away from God and the further we get from where we're supposed to be in life. I want to look at a scripture today, and we will find it in Galatians chapter 6. And the instruction is very clear. Starting at verse 9, it says, "Let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we'll reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family of faith." All right, so we should not get tired of doing the right thing. In fact, every day that we wake up, like you did today, like when you're watching this episode right now, think about some people in your life, or maybe near you, or maybe even in the next room, or maybe just at the other end of your phone because they're just a text away. Somebody that you could encourage, somebody you could do something nice for today, a nice word you could say, a nice action you could take. The opportunities are endless to do good, right? Now, you may be sitting there saying, well, I don't see people doing that for me. Well, first of all, the Bible does tell us, do unto others as you would have done unto you. And by the way, when we do this, you'd be surprised at how often that does start to come back to you and people start to respond to you differently. Like if you respect others, more than likely, most of the time, they will have more respect for you. They will treat you better than if you disrespect them. That's normally the case. Now, it's not always the case, but we don't do our actions based on what others are going to do or don't do. We do our actions in audacious faith based on what God wants us to do, knowing that he's the one that will reward. So he says, don't get tired of doing what is good, knowing that at the right time, if we do this, we're going to reap a harvest of blessing. Now, where does that blessing come from? The God who sees us do those things. All right, it may be in reciprocity that comes from somebody and what they're doing, and they may bless us back. All right. But at the same time, we're going to have that blessing that comes from God. He may bring it from a completely different source, and often he does. All right, I've had things before. Let me just share one story that pops to my mind. A few years ago, I was at the gas station, and I was trying to get just a few dollars of gas in my vehicle. And at the time, we were going with one vehicle. We needed two. Didn't know what to do. We were having some really tough financial times. And right there, standing by the gas pump in the island right in the middle, there was a guy standing there who obviously was looking for some money or for some change, but he wasn't asking. I got out of my car and I thought to myself, oh man, somebody's right here, but I need to get this gas. So I'm just not going to look at him. Hopefully it's not going to bother me. I really don't have much with me. And I could almost just hear this voice, right? It wasn't out loud. I don't want you to think I, saw, a bright light from heaven and, this voice came down or anything like that. But sometimes you just sense God telling you something, right? And it was like, you need to give him some money. I was like, I don't have any money, but I had $2 in the truck. right? And I kept hearing and I was like, well, he's not asking. It's like, just give him the $2. Offer him the $2. So finally, I gave in. Here it is. I'm thinking about this car. How are we going to get a car? I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm trying to figure this out. I gave in and I gave him the $2. This was while I was on my way to run an errand. I needed to pick up some t-shirts at a t-shirt store. I was trying to scrap together some gifts that I could give for Christmas. And while I'm in the t-shirt store, just 10 to 15 minutes later, my wife calls me and she says, hey, I just got a phone call from, and she named some friends that we hadn't seen in a while. They have this car, and it's a nice car. It's an older Mercedes convertible. It was gifted to them, and they don't use it very much. It doesn't get driven very much. It's got low mileage on it, and they're wondering if we would be open. They want to give it to us. And I'm like, are you kidding? Of course, that's exactly what we need right now. It'll help fulfill the need. By all means, that's great. That's fantastic. I get off the phone. I'm all excited. I'm thinking, wow, what a blessing. And then it's like I could hear that little voice again saying, I told you to give him the $2, right? Often as we do what God tells us to do, and we don't get tired of doing good and finding a way to bless other people, it is amazing how the God of the universe, who is unlimited in his riches and his resources, then will just come through and bless us in the way that we need, because our Father in heaven knows exactly what we need. All right. And it says, so therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, and when is that? Every day. You have the opportunity right now. You can even pause this video right now before you forget and do it, but don't forget to push play and watch the rest. All right. And when you get off here, you could be writing right now. Oh, I should contact this person. I could do this for this person. Maybe it's something that's not even a big deal. Maybe there's some trash in the kitchen and you're a young person or you're a husband and, you just bless your wife by getting off your butt and going in there and just taking it out without having her have to remind you. Simple things like that. Or maybe, getting her something or doing something that she doesn't expect, or vice versa. There's so many ways to do good. The opportunities are just there over and over and over again. Now, who should you do good to and who should you not? It says, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone. All right? Even the nasty people, even the people that have been mean to you, even the people that have beliefs that are not your beliefs, maybe totally contrary to your beliefs. Maybe they've even mocked, made fun of, and persecuted you for your beliefs. Whatever it is, all right, it doesn't matter. The Bible tells us that we should do good to everyone, the people of a different culture, the people that maybe you don't even know. It could be a neighbor on the street. It could be someone in the store. It could be someone that's next to you. It could be paying for somebody behind you in the Starbucks line or Coffee Bean or wherever you're going. It could be any of those types of places, right? It could be just a gesture, helping someone that's struggling going across the street because maybe they have a walker or they have a cane and it's a busy street, and you get out and you offer to help them. All right. They may refuse to help, but the offer is something good. Maybe you're driving down the street and you see someone pulled over and they have their hazard lights on, and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to get involved. No, do you have time to pull over and see if they need any help? These are all opportunities to do good. Some of them are obvious, and then we make some of them up. They don't necessarily have to be right in front of us. And don't discriminate. The Bible is very clear. In the book of James, it tells us, for instance, that in a church that people were treating certain people better than others. They were giving them better seats, or they were giving them preferential treatment based on what they had or how they thought that they could benefit the congregation. And then they were going to some of the others that didn't look like they could benefit them as much and saying, oh, you sit over here on the floor, or you sit over to the side. And James reminded the people, hey, God is not a respecter of persons. He sees every person out there that he's created as a person of extreme value. And so let's practice that. Let's do that. All right. If you learn anything from this video, all right, and that is going to be to just find a way every day, constantly. How can I bless? How can I do good? How can I encourage someone? How can I make their life better? And God will take care of bringing that back to you. Most of the time, our focus is on how can I make my life better? Well, just make other people's life better, and it'll be taken care of. That's my message for today. It's short, it's sweet, it's something you can share. A lot of times people don't want to listen to a long video, so that's good. This one is kind of fit into that description. Feel free to contact me at any time, and make sure you pass this along. Have you subscribed to this podcast? I ask this every time, and some of you have still not done it, and you know who you are. So please do it today, so the next time I bring this up, you don't have to feel the slightest twinge of guilt, and you'll be doing something good for me, okay? So reach out at any time. I'd love to hear from you. This has been the Audacious Faith Podcast, episode 96. We'll see you next time.